Hello, I'm Cecilia Louie of Paper Zen. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to outline and fill the letter U using some basic quilling techniques. All the letters of the alphabet are in my ebook, Quilling Letters. If you'd like to try making it too, visit my blog to download the upper or lowercase letter A for free and give it a try. The links are in the notes below. My book comes with a 6 by 6 inch square template, and this makes it easy for you to cut a sheet of 12 by 12 scrapbook cardstock in half and then fold it in half. This way you get 2 cards with 1 sheet and have no wastage. This time I'm going to do something a little different. I want to quill my letter onto this white cardstock, and then I want to put the card onto my scrapbook cardstock. I want to give my quilling a clean and quiet background, and if I make a mistake, I can easily start again and I didn't ruin the patterned cardstock. So to do this, I've made another template, and that includes a 5 by 5 inch square, and if you watch until the end of the video, I'll show you a great tip on how to use this template when you glue these 2 cards together. And you can download this for free from my blog from the link below and substitute it for any letter from my book using the baseline and center line. The next step is to trace your letter onto the white cardstock, and to do that I just find a sunny window and place the template against the window, put my cardstock against the template matching up the 5 inch outline, and I'll even put some removable tape against the corners just to make sure things don't move around. And once I have it in place, I come back to my desk and use a dried up pen to trace along the lines of the letter U. And for the straight areas, I'll definitely use a ruler for that and go freehand for the curved areas. And press firmly, and once you do that, it'll transfer the letter U to your cardstock. And you can easily remove this from the template without damaging anything. And then the letter U will be right here, ready for you to quill on. And if you're a little bit off, no one's going to notice that outline. The paper I'm using to shape the letter U is Canson Mi-Tente paper, and it comes in large sheets and sheets of 8.5 by 11. In my case, I chose to buy the 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. They're just easier to store. But the downfall of that is that my strips can't be long enough to make the letter U all in one strip. So in your book, you're going to see strips 1 and 2, that's this, 1 and 2, and then it gets continued on to 3 and 4. If you're lucky enough to have large sheets and do this all in one strip, that's great, and you don't have to worry about joining it. And in my case, I will need to join it, so I'll be showing you how I'll be doing that. So first of all, let's just get started with the shaping of the inside curve. And before I do that, I just want to point out, when you do make that fold, make sure with your fingers you're going to guide these edges to make sure that this fold here, when you crimp it, is at 90 degrees. You don't want to have the paper a little offset, because once you do and you're trying to glue it to your surface, it's going to be fighting you a bit. So you want to make sure this fold here is exactly 90 degrees, and you can do that just by bringing these fingers together to guide those edges together. So we've got that part taken care of, so we just want to put the curve in here. And if you notice, the curve doesn't start happening until about here. So when you go to grip your paper, and because I'm right-handed, I'm just going to grip it right about here. So this tells me this is where the curve starts to happen. And what I'm going to use to curve is this crochet hook, because I like this larger diameter. So I'm just going to gently soften it with my fingers. And you can see I missed the mark here, not a big deal. We'll just uncoil it a bit more and recoil a little further along. So every time you put it back down here, you're going to reassess the situation and, you know, make any adjustments. That's how it works, just going back and forth, back and forth. So you can see here, I need a bit more curve right there. So I'm just going to pick it up and run it just there. Let's see how close I got. Not bad, right? So then I want to curve a bit more here. Now you can see how it's wanting to do that, so that's okay. I'll just pick it up where I need it to be a little bit more curved, put it on the fleshy part of my finger here, and run it just a little bit back and forth right here. Just apply a little bit of pressure, and when you do, watch how those two ends of the U right here come closer together. You just apply a little bit of pressure, and that's what it does. So now look how much more behaving it is. So I feel pretty good about that. I think I can steer it in the right place when we go to glue. If there's any areas where you want it to relax, just kind of gently massage those fibers and it'll start behaving. And if you like, it does make your job gluing easier if you do make it as close to the template as possible. So I just want to see how much closer do I want it to get. I think I'm okay with that. So for the next strip, this part's the easy part. We'll just join it together there. So again, just like the inner part of the U, I'm going to study where it starts to soften, right about there. And I'm just using very little pressure. So I'm going to imagine this distance here is right about here. So I'm just going to soften this direction as well. And I want a bit more curve here. Wow, that behaved rather quickly, didn't it? Okay, so I think just a bit more here. I know a number of you have said I make this look easy, and yes, I guess, to be honest with you, sometimes when I'm filming this, I'm actually surprised at how well it behaves on my first take. And all I can say is that I've been doing this for a very, very long time. So maybe after you guys have been doing this for, I don't know, maybe 10 years, then maybe you can show me how easy it was for you, okay? So don't be fretting if you're struggling with this right now. It's just like riding a bike. And yes, it's frustrating in the beginning, and I promise you, the more you do this, the more your fingers are going to feel the paper fibers and know what it tells you. So please don't be frustrated with yourself. Just keep trying, okay? Every project that I've made, I can see my progression and it gets easier as you go. Okay, so I think I'm pretty good with my shaping and I'm ready to start gluing. After I've shaped my strips, I generally park it on my template just so I can visually clue myself in which strip is which, because after a while they can get kind of jumbled. So that's how I use this template. I just kind of park it there temporarily, and as I use each area, then it just, you know, it's easy to keep track of it all. So I'm going to start with the inside shape first. I always tackle the inside shape because I find it harder to get access to it if I've already glued the outside. So in this case, I'm going to glue just this part down first, and actually maybe just this part of the straight part here. That's going to give me a good guidance for this part here. So I can let this part here be loose, okay? So I'm just going to dip here and about there. And the glue that I'm going to use is Aline's Original Tacky Glue. I'm just going to run a bead down the side of it here. And instead of, you see that thick puddle here? I don't want that to ride up the side of my quilling strip. So I'm just going to smear that flat. Do you see how flat that is? So you're not going to see any glue on the edges of your work. So when I go to dip, I'm going to be strategic in where I dip. I see the straight area here and the straight area here, and that's as far as I want to go. You can always check, you can see how much glue is left on that puddle and see that, you know, part of it didn't get dipped or what have you. But basically when you pick it up and you see how much glue is taken up, you know that that's pretty well coated. You guys ever play Perfection as children? Or Operation? I think those skills benefit me now, my misspent youth. Okay, I'm going to take care of this easy part now because it's pretty straightforward, no pun intended. And now if you wanted to, you could also have put a card here to guide yourself. I felt pretty comfortable in laying that strip down, but you know, just to help that part align. I guess I could do that right now. Let's do that now. I'm going to put down the removable tape and just position my card here just for the future as well. Because that your eyes can tell when something is off, and so this helps you visually align all that. So now, do you see how this bottom part is all wiggly? Because there's no glue there. And this is a good time for you to see, does anything need adjusting? So in this case, I have a little bit of bend. It wasn't as straight as I wanted. So what I'm going to do is dip just a portion of that and help straighten that out. And I'm going to take another card here and just help myself guide the straight part down. Now let's look at how much is wiggling. So a lot less now, right? Look how much easier our job is now. And we made it easy, right? So look on the sides. My lighting is not the greatest here, so you guys take your time and until you feel comfortable about when you're ready to glue. I think I'm okay with what I see now. So I'm just going to pick that up. And because we have already secured the straight parts, look how much easier it is for us. I think I want just a little bit more straightness here. As I press down. Now it's when you press down that the glue actually takes hold with the paper. So if you actually want to keep it up in the air until you like what you see, feel free to do that. So now we've just got this second piece, and again I've got my guide here, and because I'm going to be able to push right against these two edges to one another, that makes my job so much easier now that that card is there. Okay, so I'm going to dip it in the glue here, and I think I'm comfortable with getting this straight part down as well at the same time. Go with what you guys are comfortable with. Now, do as I say and don't do as I do, okay? I should have kept, with my left hand, I should have kept this guy in the air. So I've got a bit of glue on my card. Perhaps I should have done just that straight part first. Again, you guys can learn from my mistake, okay? Yeah, maybe I should have just done that part first. But, you know, luckily I caught the glue before it dried. And my card is nice and smooth and heavy stock, so I don't think anyone's going to see that. So yeah, I now that I see this 2020 hindsight, this part I should have secured first and leave this part alone. Then I can come back and dip that part and have less to worry about. Okay, so learn from my mistake, okay guys? Now that that is down, you know what, I've been talking so long I can see a film has developed here, so I'm just going to apply some more glue. We want to keep our glue fresh, and we don't want to, when it starts drying, you can see a different sheen to it, and if you dip your paper in there, it's going to pick up some skin along with that, and we don't want that on our project. So you can see the sheen is completely different on fresh glue. So now if I had thought about it more carefully, I should have just done that strip, and then I can easily come back now and do this straight part with just this new fresh glue and have less to worry about. So I'm just going to slide that in and take care of any more straight areas and help set that in place. It's going to give me less to worry about as I tackle this curve at the end. Again, this card is in place. I won't go too far this way or too far this way. It's going to help guide me. Now with my left finger, I'm pressing down on this corner, and with my right, I'm actually gently tugging this strip so it tugs it straighter. So you can see now, it's only this area here that is unglued. Look how much easier that is, just the same as it was here. So now you can decide to glue any segment you wish. You don't have to tackle it all at one time. You can control exactly how much you put down. And, you know, don't forget to breathe in between. I know it's kind of like when I watch Jacques Cousteau and he's doing all that underwater footage, and I realize, oh my gosh, I've been holding my breath the whole time. So you can see now why I like such a thin card. It makes my job easier to slip it underneath that strip and lift just the area that I need. And last but not least, we have to join this corner and this corner. So I'm just going to pick up some glue. Oh, that's too much. So let me show you what's too much. This is too much glue. And I always have tissue on hand to wipe it off. So I want to pick up just the right amount of glue. So now that's more the right amount. Now you see how the glue is only on one side and this side doesn't have it? I'm going to use the side that doesn't have glue and push this piece of paper aside and run the glue up this edge. Wipe off the excess. Now with your tool, just kind of bring those two corners together, and once they meet, it's like they start kissing, and it's a nice join. So we're just going to do the same here. Pick up a little bit of glue. Okay, now that's a little bit too little. That's better. Wipe off your excess, and we'll just bring those two corners together. And I just gently run my tip on the inside in case there's any excess glue there. Okay, now your letter U is outlined and we can start filling it in. Well, I recently had a question, and this person was asking, how do you know how to match colors and make it, you know, they're too scared to try colors. You know what? It's okay to have everything the same color. When you're starting out and you're unsure about how to mix and match colors, just go with one color, because the design itself and your technique, the quilling, that has so much beauty all on its own. You don't need to stress yourself out about color. So I deliberately chose to do everything in green just to show you it can be beautiful just all on its own. And as you gain confidence working with color, you can start making maybe this sprig in a different color or this leaf in a different color, and then add to it slowly. And I would try, you know, adding maybe one shade lighter, one shade darker of the green family. You make it monochromatic. Monochromatic is like basically all the same kinds of colors, but basically in the same range, okay? That makes your job so much easier. So I'm just going to show you how this sprig came to be. And you know, when you look at something so quiet and simple, isn't that just nice to look at? Again, no need for extra color. So I'm just going to show you how I made this sprig. It was quite easy. I have here an 11-inch strip, and I'm just going to fold it in half. And you can just tear with your fingers. And I'm going to fold that half again. And half again. So this strip ends up being about 1.5, and it's give or take. You really don't need to be exact. So I'm just going to soften this half, turn it around, and soften this half. And then I'm just going to bring this half over, and that's how you form the teardrop shape. And we'll just apply a little bit of glue right here, and then bring these two together. Now I'm going to let this side here be a little longer. I don't want to have these two edges meet because it's going to make it bulkier. I definitely want a nice taper. Now, it's really easy from here to start adding these two together. And I'm going to again let one of them be a little longer than the other. So in other words, this shape here is a little further down than this one. It's kind of like they're taking turns growing. So if you can imagine, because this one was longer, the tail is longer than this one, then the next one has to be longer here. Does that make sense? And give it a good squeeze so that you have good adhesion. And see how it builds so easily? So organic, right? And they don't have to be exact, and that's what I love about it. I love that it's not perfectly the same. That's why it doesn't matter that you tear versus, you know, and it doesn't matter really what the length is. You just adjust as you need. And when it becomes random and natural, it just looks so much more realistic that way, to have it playfully uneven. And then I just added some curlicues to that. Now generally for that I tend to like a blunt cut rather than a torn edge. you know, whatever you choose is fine too. And in this case, I think I want it to be a little S shape right at the tail. So to get like a more open kind of coil, I just uncoil it and recoil it. So you can open up that curve just a little bit more. And then when you add it in, you know, you can just make it behave any which way you want. It can be like this if you want. And you can imagine how this looks in the letter U. It's quite flexible, really. And just keep playing until you see the design that you like. And then when you're ready to glue this down to your letter U, you just pick up the entire thing and dip it into a smeared glue puddle. Okay? Have fun with the letter U. Some people have asked me why I don't offer my book in a printed format, and this is a good reason why. Because I'm always asking you guys to cut things up, and this is a great time to be cutting up your template. I basically put a ruler down from this corner down to here and sliced it in half. Then from there, I put the 6x6 card behind this template, and you can see exactly where to line it up if you go to a sunny window. And I've got the template stuck down with removable tape here. Now that my template is attached to my 6x6 card, I have a guideline to put down my 5x5 inch card. And all I need to do is apply some glue to this corner. I would just go about, you know, 1/3 of the way down. I'm lazy. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I'm pretty lazy. I don't like to have to think about things. This is an easy way for me to be lazy. Now we can slip that out and apply glue for this part of the card. And because it's on, the glue is on just this corner here, now when I apply the glue to the rest of it, it's easy to lift it up and see the rest of the unglued areas. And guess what? The positioning is pretty much set, right? Easy. I can't wait to see what you guys make. For everyone who have left me comments, thank you so much. I love reading about how my tutorials are helping you in your quilling. Your enthusiasm for this art form is what gives me energy. If you're using social media, I'd love to see your work. Tag me in your photos. Thanks for watching.